symphony. Let spirits sing in unity strength. We spread our wings through doubts, valleys, fears, peace. Courage found, victory seen.
Welcome to the Living Well, Living Rich podcast. Today we are taking you on a deep dive designed to completely change how you view personal finance.
Yeah, and it is a massive shift in perspective.
Right. So think about the last time you made a terrible impulse buy. What if I told you it wasn't a lack of discipline, but your brain quietly trying to resolve a childhood argument?
Which sounds wild, I know.
It does. But our mission for this deep dive is to get you to stop looking at your finances as just, a spreadsheet of numbers. We want you to start seeing them for what they really are, a living, breathing record of human emotion and memory and pressure.
And frankly, that's a really necessary shift. To guide us through this, we're pulling from some truly remarkable source material published by Kokushinsan Ltd.
Yes, and I love their background.
Right. They are this independent publisher driven by a very specific motto: knowledge changes destiny. Education changes the world.
Yeah, and the story behind that publisher is actually what drew me in first. The initiative is led by Dr. Shu-Chen Hu, who actually holds a PhD from the University of Bristol.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but the roots of this project go way past academia. Dr. Hao's father, Mr. Hu Shusan, he ran the Yangsheng Herbal Pharmacy in Taiwan for over half a century.
Half a century? That's incredible.
Exactly. For decades, he blended deep herbal knowledge with this genuine, hands-on compassion for his community. And that exact ethos, like diligence, care, and the belief that knowledge can bring real comfort, is the absolute foundation of their educational mission today.
Which, honestly, perfectly sets the stage for the book we're exploring today from them. It's called Money as a Series of Choices by Marcus Vale.
Such a good title.
It really is. And just as a pharmacist looks at the holistic underlying well-being of a person rather than just, treating a symptom, this book looks at the hidden psychological realities of our financial lives.
Right, like the actual root causes.
Exactly. It is entirely unconcerned with optimizing your stock portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, it asks what are the actual messy human conditions under which your financial choices are being made.
I highly recommend that you visit kokushinsan.net to explore more of their educational resources. They're putting out work that really challenges how you navigate the world. So, okay, let's unpack this. Before we can even begin to understand the financial choices you and I make today, we have to look at the invisible baggage we brought to the table.
The heavy baggage.
Right. Where do our money habits actually come from? Because this book argues they do not start when you get your first paycheck.
Not at all. I mean, money doesn't arrive in our lives with a formal introduction or like a user manual.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. You and I learned about it long before we cognitively understood what a dollar was or how a mortgage works. We learn about money through the emotional weather of our childhood household.
The emotional weather. That's a great phrase.
Right. You absorb the physical tension in the room at the end of the month when the mail arrives.
Mm-hmm.
Or, as the author points out, a child notices the exact, specific tone of hesitation a parent uses when they say later instead of no.
Wow. That actually stops you in your tracks.
It really does.
You realize you don't need to know what a budget is at age 6 to know exactly what that hesitation means. You feel the weight of it without having the vocabulary for it.
Exactly. You're absorbing an inherited narrative. None of us start with a blank slate. Some of us inherit a story of extreme caution. This idea that money is deeply fragile, it can vanish at any second, and therefore it must be guarded at all costs.
So spending it feels dangerous.
Yes. In that narrative, spending money carries a literal emotional risk. But then other people inherit a story of confidence where money is viewed as renewable.
Like it just comes back.
Yeah, it's just a tool to smooth out life's edges, so hesitation feels totally unnecessary.
It makes me think about our early money habits, like a piece of old, heavy furniture that's just always been in your living room. You walk around it, you bump into it, but you never question why it's there.
That's a perfect analogy.
But it's actually worse than that. It's like every time you get a new paycheck, you are subconsciously arranging all your new modern financial decisions to fit around that old broken couch without ever asking why it's still taking up space.
Right, you're decorating around the trauma.
Exactly. Which makes me wonder, if we just inherit these scripts without realizing it, are we basically using our adult paychecks to quietly resolve old arguments from our childhood?
What's fascinating here is that we absolutely are, and these stories persist because they provide us with a sense of coherence.
Coherence? What do you mean?
Well, they explain our past and justify our present. If you grew up with a narrative of deep scarcity, aggressively hoarding every penny feels like an act of loyalty to that worldview. It makes the world make sense.
Oh, I see.
And if you rebel against it and spend frivolously, you're still reacting to that original script. Recognizing this old heavy furniture doesn't magically make it disappear from the room, but it softens how absolute these inherited stories feel.
Which completely shatters the myth of the fresh start. We always tell ourselves, when I get this new job, or when I finally hit 50 grand in savings, everything will feel different. I won't stress anymore.
But it doesn't work that way.
No. The mind doesn't just factory reset along with the bank balance. You can get a $20,000 raise and still find yourself sweating over a $5 coffee because the old observer inside your head remains exactly the same.
Yes, you're bringing all the anxieties of old scarcity right into your brand new abundance.
Because we carry that old baggage, it fundamentally alters how we see our daily choices. Which leads us to how the book frames scarcity. It's not just a mathematical lack of funds, it's a psychological lens.
It is a literal filter over how you process reality. Scarcity narrows your attention, and it compresses time.
Compresses time.
Yeah. When you're looking through the lens of scarcity, the future feels incredibly indulgent. You cannot afford to care about a retirement account 5 years from now because paying the electric bill today is a crisis. Only today matters.
That makes total sense. You're in survival mode.
Right. Now, this lens is highly adaptive. In the short term, it rewards efficiency and hyperfocus, but it completely eliminates the margin for error. Every single choice carries disproportionate, terrifying weight.
Wait, I need to push back on the next part, though. The book talks about the unease of abundance. But isn't more money just objectively better? How does finally getting financial abundance create anxiety?
It seems counterintuitive, I know. But when abundance finally arrives, say you build that safety net, the scarcity lens doesn't just pop off your face. The fear simply shifts.
Just to what?
It moves from a fear of basic survival to a fear of judgment or a fear of sudden loss. There's this lingering, quiet concern that the abundance is provisional, that it's a mistake.
Wow.
So you remain hypervigilant. You might even sabotage it because your brain is wired for the sudden reversal. The waiting for the other shoe to drop is actually more stressful than just being broke.
Here's where it gets really interesting, especially when we talk about self-sabotage and bad choices. The book brings up the connection between money and fatigue.
Oh, this is huge.
Think about when you make your worst financial slip-ups. It's almost never at 10 a.m. on a Saturday when you're well-rested. It's usually 8 p.m. on a Wednesday.
Every time.
You're exhausted, you've navigated traffic, dealt with a boss, managed your household.
Yeah, decision fatigue is a profound underlying driver of financial behavior. When you are physically and emotionally worn down by the sheer accumulation of the day, your decision-making framework narrows dramatically.
You just want it to be over.
Exactly. You are no longer asking your brain, what is the optimal financial move for my long-term goals? You are simply asking, what action will cleanly end this moment of stress?
That completely flips the traditional idea of bad financial discipline. We love to shame people for a lack of willpower.
Oh, constantly.
But what if a bad money decision isn't a lack of discipline at all? What if it's just a plea for relief?
A plea for relief, yes.
You're swiping the credit card for a $50 takeout order you don't need, or you're agreeing to terrible terms on a loan because doing so instantly reduces the friction. It allows the day to just close cleanly.
That is a much more accurate way to look at human behavior. Fatigue alters scale. The long-term consequence of spending that $50 feels abstract and distant.
Right.
But the short-term relief of ending the friction, of not having to cook and clean tonight, feels disproportionately valuable in that exact moment.
But because we make these quick, fatigued choices to relieve the present moment, we inevitably create a massive problem for the future. We are perpetually putting our future self in a terrible bind.
We do. And to understand why, we have to look at how time operates within currency. Money is one of the very few objects we interact with that holds the past, the present, and the future all at the exact same time.
Wait, trace that out for me. What does it actually look like?
Okay, let's trace a $100 bill. When you earn that $100, you're compressing hours of past effort, past sweat, and past time into a digit. It represents history.
Okay, I'm with you.
When you put that $100 in a savings account, you're gesturing toward a vague, undefined future.
Yeah.
But when you spend it impulsively on a Wednesday night, you collapse both that past grueling effort and that future potential into one immediate present experience.
That is heavy. Time hiding inside money. So every time you make a choice, you're constantly negotiating a hostage situation between your present self and your future self.
That's exactly what it is.
And let's be honest, the present self is loud. The present self is specific. It has a migraine. It hates its boss, and it is exhausted right now.
Yes.
The future self. They're a totally silent partner. We just magically assume that future me is going to be incredibly disciplined, wildly wealthy, and totally fine with cleaning up today's mess.
Which brings up the problem of deferred decisions. In personal finance, not choosing is still a choice. Money is unique in that it absorbs ambiguity. It allows you to wait.
So you can just leave it sitting there.
Exactly. You can leave the money sitting in a low-yield account undecided. But while your present self gets the emotional relief of not making a hard choice today, your future self inherits the absolute mathematical consequences of that drift.
It's a fascinating thought experiment for you listening right now. When you put off a financial choice, are you actually being prudent and gathering information? Or are you just offloading a really heavy, uncomfortable burden onto a stranger who just happens to be you 5 years from now?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to realize that this conflict between the present self and the future self is not a character flaw.
It's not.
No. It is a structural, inherent feature of human decision-making. We are biologically wired to prioritize the immediate threat or the immediate relief.
That makes me feel a little better, honestly.
It should. Money just happens to make this internal conflict mathematically visible on a screen. We judge ourselves so harshly, but it's just the human condition printed on a bank statement.
But we aren't just worried about letting down our future selves, are we? We are terrified of what everyone else thinks of our present self.
Oh, absolutely.
We are constantly negotiating with society, and our money is the loudest communicator in that negotiation.
Exactly. Work is often where money gets most tightly tangled up with our public identity. Society uses compensation as a proxy for value.
Right.
The underlying, universally accepted narrative is that effort should directly lead to reward. Persistence should accumulate into security. But that is an incredibly imperfect equation.
Break that down for me. The book talks about this causing an existential disorientation. What does that actually mean in plain English?
It means that when you grind away for 60 hours a week and still can't afford basic rent, it doesn't just make you frustrated. It breaks your brain's basic expectation that hard work equals safety.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It makes the world feel fundamentally broken and incoherent. Conversely, when money arrives very easily, without much effort, say, through a sudden windfall, it can feel totally unearned and fragile, leaving you waiting for society to realize you're an imposter.
Because we moralize the effort.
Right.
We treat struggle as a virtue and the financial outcome as validation of that virtue. And then we project that assumption onto everyone else we see, which leads to what the author calls the social surface of money.
Money is highly legible. You can see the neighborhood someone lives in, the car they drive, the brands they wear.
Right, but people constantly compare these visible outcomes without having any clue about the invisible inputs. You look at your neighbor who drives the exact same car as you, and you think you are financial peers.
What you call a not?
Exactly. You don't see their invisible inputs. You don't see the massive inheritance they got, or the family safety net that let them take a risk, or the silent, crushing credit card debt they used to buy the car. You just see the car.
And that lack of accounting makes comparison incredibly distorting. We compare simplified fictional narratives of our relative position.
Yeah.
Because of this, our daily financial choices are rarely neutral. We navigate a social surface where we know we are being read and interpreted by our peers.
There is a quote from Marcus Vale that just nails this. He says, "Much of what we call a lifestyle is actually a tax paid to remain part of a tribe."
It is a brilliant observation about the cost of conformity.
Think about it like a monthly social subscription fee. You pay this invisible tax just to avoid the exhausting effort of explaining why you want to live differently.
Yeah, explaining yourself is exhausting.
Because unconventional financial choices carry a massive emotional cost. If you decide to step off the expected path to move your family into a tiny apartment, to take a massive pay cut for more free time, to not buy the house everyone says you should buy, you suddenly have to defend it.
Every single day.
You have to interpret your choices for your family at Thanksgiving, for your peers, maybe even your partner. A lot of the time, it's just easier to pay the lifestyle tax, buy the bigger house, and avoid the conversation.
And this leads right into why we tolerate that tax in the first place.
Right.
We endure the pressure because we're desperately trying to buy our way to a final state of stability.
Right.
We want to survive the social judgment and the internal fatigue by reaching a threshold where we are finally safe. But to get there, we have to navigate risk. And just like we moralize effort, we treat risk as a moral category.
Wait, let me push back on that. If I take a massive financial risk, like emptying my entire 401k to start a risky restaurant business, and it fails, isn't that just objectively reckless? How can we say risk is just a moral category created by society?
Because society judges the risk purely based on the outcome, which completely ignores the reality of the decision.
How so?
If you empty your 401k, start the restaurant, and it becomes a massive success, society calls you a visionary. You had foresight. You believed in yourself.
Oh, right.
But if you take the exact same action with the exact same information and a pandemic hits and the restaurant fails, you are labeled reckless. Society ignores the shared reality of uncertainty at the moment of the jump.
That is so deeply unfair to our past selves. We judge our past decisions using information we didn't have at the time. And because we are so afraid of being labeled reckless, we learn to crave extreme stability.
We do. We prioritize the predictable.
But the irony of stability is what the book calls the quiet weight of maintenance.
Yes. We naturally assume that our money is buying progress. We think we are purchasing the future. But a massive chunk of our money doesn't buy progress at all. It just buys continuation.
Let's use the house example again, because this was huge for me. You buy the bigger house thinking it buys you peace and stability.
Right.
Instead, it buys higher property taxes. It buys a lawn that needs a landscaping service and a roof that costs double to replace when it leaks. It's maintenance. It doesn't move your life forward, it just keeps your baseline from falling apart.
Exactly.
And this invisible maintenance slowly adds layers and layers of obligation. Every new lifestyle upgrade requires more maintenance, which constrains your movement. You think you bought stability, but you actually bought a second job managing a property. You bought confinement.
Which perfectly illustrates the myth of the final state. We are all holding on to this illusion that there's a magical number, a specific net worth, where the anxiety will permanently vanish.
Right, the finish line.
Where the maintenance will finally feel effortless. We think, if I just reach this one milestone, my relationship with money will be permanently solved.
So what does this all mean? If you are listening to this right now, I want you to genuinely ask yourself, are you chasing a specific number, deeply believing that once you get there, you'll finally be able to exhale?
And then you don't.
Only to find that the target keeps moving. Because as we move up, our reference points move with us. The barely sufficient of today completely replaces the enough of yesterday.
And that shifting horizon isn't necessarily greed, it's just human adaptation. The brain is literally built to normalize its surroundings. Mm-hmm. As your resources grow, your baseline recalibrates to expect those resources. What this fundamentally means is that money is not an equation that you can eventually solve, balance, and walk away from. It is an ongoing, lifelong conversation. It is a condition to be lived with.
And part of living with that condition means learning how to process regret.
Yes. Regret is almost always framed as a failure, a glaring sign that you made the wrong choice. But Vale argues that regret is simply information.
Just data.
Exactly. It illuminates the distance between what you expected to happen and what you actually experienced. It shows you how your values have mutated over time. Feeling regret doesn't mean your past self was an idiot. It just means your present self has gathered new data and evolved.
That is such a relief to hear, letting go of the shame of past financial choices, because those choices were made by a version of you who had different constraints, different exhaustion levels, and different information.
The conversation shifts as your roles change, as your physical health changes, as your family dynamics evolve. What felt like an incredibly necessary protective financial choice 10 years ago might feel like a heavy, suffocating constraint today.
Yeah.
And that is perfectly okay. The accounting never stops, but neither does the learning.
This has been such a profound shift in how to look at the numbers in our lives. To summarize what we've unpacked today, money isn't just math on a screen. It is a living, breathing record of our choices.
Absolutely.
It is deeply shaped by the silent stories we inherited from our parents. It's altered by the physical fatigue we feel at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday. It's directed by the invisible social taxes we pay just to fit in, and by the constantly moving target of enough. It is a condition you live with, not a math problem you can definitively solve.
It acts as a mirror, reflecting our relationship with time, with the expectations of society, and most importantly, with ourselves.
Please do yourself a favor and check out the book Money is a Series of Choices by Marcus Vale. And again, we highly recommend visiting cocoshengsan.net. Dr. Shuchen Hao and her team are honoring a beautiful family legacy of holistic compassion and care by putting out educational resources that truly do change destinies.
It is incredibly rare to find an approach to finance that is so deeply empathetic to the human condition.
It really is. It changes everything. So we'll leave you with one final thought, something to mull over on your commute or while you're making dinner tonight. Think about your current financial footprint. If your bank statements were a literal transcript of a conversation between you and your past selves, what is the argument you are still trying to win?
We'll walk in the quiet night, where dreams take flight, we're hope's warriors in plain sight. Stars guide, moon's light, conquering darkness with all might. Raise your voice, let it skyward fly. Together we'll soar, reaching heights so high, life's symphony. Let spirits sing in unity, strength, spread our wings. Through doubt's valleys, fears, peaks, courage found, victory sees. Each step taken vanishes night. Dawn embraced, hearts alight. Raise your voice, let it skyward fly. Together we'll soar, reaching heights so high, life's symphony. Let spirits sing in unity, strength, spread our wings. Time's tapestry, our mark we leave. Love's legacy, sparks conceive. Hope's anthem, fate's guide. Darkness with all might. Raise your voice, let it skyward fly. Together we'll soar, reaching heights so high, life's symphony. Let spirits sing in unity, strength, we spread our wings. Through doubt's valleys, fears, peaks, courage found, victory sees. Each step taken vanishes night. Dawn embraced, hearts alight. Raise your voice, let it skyward fly. Together we'll soar, reaching heights so high, life's symphony. Let spirits sing in unity, strength, we spread our wings. Through doubt's valleys, fears, peaks, courage found, peace seeks. Each step taken vanishes night. Dawn embrace, hearts alive. Together we'll soar, reaching heights so high, life's symphony. Let spirits sing in unity, strength, we spread our wings. Through doubt's valleys, fears, peaks, courage found, victory seeks. Each step taken vanishes night. Dawn embrace, hearts alive. Oh, together we'll soar, reaching heights so high, life's symphony. Let spirits sing in unity, strength, spread our wings. Raise your voice, let it skyward fly. Together we'll soar, reaching heights so high. Like symphony, let spirits sing in unity, strength we sing in unity. voice, let it skyward. Fears peace, courage found, victory sees. Each step taken vanishes night. Dawn embraced, heart, spirit sing. In unity tonight. Dawn embraced, hearts alive. Raise your voice, let it skyward. Fears peace, courage found, victory sees. Each step taken vanishes night. Dawn embraced, hearts alive.